Chapter 999, folks. I can't believe we're kind of here. I know it's not the 1000th chapter yet, but just pretty much the fact that like just the fact we're here already is kind of incredible. Like I can't believe how far One Piece has come. And honestly, it just kind of figures that in typical Oda style that Shonen Jump and Oda would pretty much celebrate by at least this chapter, but pretty much giving us at least pretty much one part of a pretty much two part cover spread that forms a poster in order to celebrate like the in order to separate one in order to separate the thousandth chapter. Like it kind of just figures in typical Oda and Shonen Jump style that they would give us like one part of a massive poster in order to celebrate that event. um and so but getting right into the chapter itself, it starts with a flashback when Ace and Yamato first met, and in a way, there's a slight fallacy in Yamato's initials telling of the story because even though Ace was the one who melted the statue, it was Yamato herself that like destroyed it as her first act of defiance against her father. And we see even more from there through the simple act of treating of Ace like friends treating of Ace treating her like a drinking buddy and friend. It just shows how much Ace became the driving force, but the driving force behind the driving force behind over and behind Yamato's goal in order to escape her father. And honestly, this flashback to me proves even more something I vaguely mentioned in a yesterday's anime review, which is that Yamato will be the one to take up the in order to take up the French ame no the French ame no harakiri, because taking up because if you think about it, when it comes take like when you think about it a certain way, taking up the blade that defied her father would be the ultimate act of defiance against Kaido. Like in terms of Prince Yamato like taking up that blade and pointing it at her father, that would be the ultimate act of defiance against Kaido. Like I'm just saying. Um, like it would fit perfectly in order for her specifically in order to wield that sword right now. I also like how we see that after joining Whitebeard's ship and learning what happened to Odin, Ace's desire to kill Kaido not only grew stronger, but in the end, it was also another promise that was left unfulfilled. Because obviously, the other promise that was left unfulfilled after Ace's death was really just his goal in order to kill Blackbeard or stop him or something or whatever, like bring him to justice pretty much. From and in that way it shows it adds additional perspective to Marco's and Izo's motivations for being here, and even more so like in terms of the Whitebeard's whole in terms of the remaining Whitebeard pirates' whole goal of trying to kill Blackbeard after Ace's death, Ace and Whitebeard's death. Like they were like after their deaths, the Whitebeard pirates felt it was their goal in order to fulfill the missions that were left unfulfilled, which is kill Blackbeard and kill Kaido, which is currently what Izo and Marco are doing. Um, and so it adds a little more perspective in terms of both of those kind of in terms of both of those scenarios to Ace's whole goal of revenge for Thatch and revenge for Odin and whatnot. Um, Also, flashbacks like this really kind of expose a weird unspoken truth about Whitebeard, which is for however much of a good man he was in trying to protect his family, his unwillingness to act really only served to push Ace away. Because while it is true that Ace probably wouldn't have survived an actual battle with Kaido, you can see how much that one incident would compile on top of Ace's anger towards like Thatch's death and Whitebeard's silent refusal to act. Like if you really think about it, Odin's death and finding out about Odin's death was the first major thing was the first major thing that pretty much put Ace on his path of eventual revenge in order of revenge against Blackbeard, because if Ace, like, Odin's death already caused a bit of a boiling anger inside of him, but Thatch's death had caused Ace's anger to boil over after that fact, and it caused, and at that point he was just, I'm done, I'm going to defy Whitebeard, I'm gonna go after Blackbeard and avenge Thatch. Like, it's kind of one of those things where pretty much one failure had compiled on top of another for him, and really, yeah, if you like, well, I'm not gonna say that Whitebeard wasn't wrong necessarily, but his constant review, his way of doing things did I think in a certain way did kind of cause like the current the current dynamics to unfold, I think. Um, and yeah, at this point, even if the Straw Hats and honestly, at this point, even if the Straw Hats get a victory against Kaido, I'm convinced even more of Inuarashi's premonition about Robin getting kidnapped is becoming more and more of a reality after this chapter, because with us getting the little info dump that Pudding hasn't fully awakened her power, just kind of pushes forward that Robin is going to be walking into a trap of some kind, probably by Big Mom. Also, because yeah, with the whole thing of just putting of putting his third eye not having fully awakened, that kind of gives Big Mom especially a lot of motivation in order to capture Robin right now. Um, but but so unless it's been said already and I just missed it, we really need to know what Pudding is, because there seems to be more than one person now outside of Robin and the Kozuki clan who can pretty much read who can read the poneglyphs and the ancient script on them. But so I can only but now it just asks the question of what's Pudding's connection to the Void Century. And right now I can again with this being the only with us only being one with this being the one singular chapter that between us and chapter 1000, I can only assume that all these answers I have are going to be answered in that 1000th in that penultimate chapter. But for now, Robin really needs to tread lightly. And what kind of reinforces all this to me even more is that just first the fact that we were reminded that we're constantly being reminded that we're in a race against the clock to stop Onigashima from falling on the flower capital. That just that little bit of info in itself tells me we're probably headed in for a situation where we will ultimately end up defeating Kaido maybe. But I think Big Mom, I think in some way both Big Mom and Kaido will still end up getting away with Robin. I think Robin's capture again is kind of still on the table as happening in some form or fashion. Now, the chapter also gives us a major reveal that when Rox was defeated, Big Mom gave Kaido a legendary model of the fish fruit. And putting aside the very contradictory nature of such a devil fruit, just like with Pudding's eye, the fact that little bit of info was dropped in at all does tell me that the route to get to the One Piece is probably much more treacherous even more than what we've been told, and it takes more than just a ship to get there, obviously, which is something I think we already knew. Like, getting to the One Piece in itself wasn't going to be an easy fix, wasn't going to be an easy travel at all, but it just kind of reinforces just how treacherous the journey is to get there, even when you bring all the poneglyphs and all that together. Also, just the fact that we know Big Mom gave Kaido such a tough fruit, I think it goes without saying that Yamato is more than likely the one who possesses the fish, like this legendary fish fruit model, because because Yamato possessing this fish fruit would actually go a long way towards adding much more context to the idea that despite not actually caring about her, Kaido still went out of his way in order to keep her from leaving Wano, like pretty much showing that she is just as much a requirement for the plan to obtain One Piece as Robin is. So yeah, I think it is more than likely that Yamato is is the one with this power, because from my understanding we haven't really met the person who has this power yet. So yeah. Um, and yeah, on a bit of a smaller note, however, those the big thing with this chapter too is that pretty much is that both Momonosuke and Tama like pretty much find out that Luffy is Ace's brother, and that he's also carrier of the D, and of the Will of D or whatnot. So like it's a nice little wrap up to that, and just and showing just okay, yeah, they were kids and they didn't know, but it's like, yeah, you really think like I guess it makes sense because that's some kind of information that Luffy doesn't care about sharing. But it's like when you finally learn about it, it is kind of it is kind of going to be a shock for pretty much people who have worked, for people who have like who pretty much have worked alongside someone with the D in their name. So yeah. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Analyst, or Crunchyroll. Dead Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.